When I married Lucian, we signed a prenup that read like a merger agreement. Clause 1, mutual courtesy. 0 interference. His face, cold, ascetic, looked like snow that never melted off a summit. Beautiful. But it bit. I thought I could keep my heart locked. Then, at one victory party, I drank too much. I remember straddling his lap, twisting his silk tie, kissing him through a haze of champagne. The next morning his eyes were bloodshot. Voice gravel rough. Serena, do you remember last night? I shook my head. Guilty. He clamped my wrist so hard I felt bones hum, as if he meant to press me into his marrow. He said, if you don't remember, I'll remind you. Underscore 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 underscore. I woke to a jackhammer in my skull. The hangover made my temples throb. The room doubled, then tripled. I forced my eyes to focus, and an unfairly gorgeous face filled my vision. My contractual husband, Lucian. He lay on his side, black silk robe open at the collar, exposing cool white skin, blade straight nose, lips thin and tight. The peach blossom eyes that were usually arctic were now shot with red, fixed on me, a storm swirling inside them. This look was nowhere in our courtesy, only a clause. My brain detonated. Shards of last night slashed back. Me, Serena, rookie jewelry designer, 3 months ago sold my signature for Caldwell Capital to save my father's dying company. Our marriage was a quiet transaction. He needed a presentable wife to pacify family elders. I needed cash. On our wedding night, he handed me the contract. Voice as tepid as tap water. Serena, 3 years. Play Caldwell in public. Stay out of my private life. I'd agreed, relieved. His face was hazardously pretty. 2 seconds more and I might have drowned. But last night, my studio, Starry, had won an international award. The boss popped corks. Interns kept filling my flute. I don't recall the ride home. I do recall mistaking Lucian for Aaron, the junior designer who won't stop flirting, and going full drunk diva. I'd swung a leg over his thighs, pinched his chin, slurred, hey, handsome, give mama a smile, then mashed my mouth to his. Awake? His voice, sandpaper over glass, hauled me back to the present. I jackknife it up, clutching the duvet like a shield. Caldwell, last night was an accident. Whatever I did, I apologize. Please forget it. He pushed up on one elbow, closing the distance. Cedar and lingering whiskey swallowed my air. I shrank back. He stopped an inch away, fingertip brushing my lower lip. Electricity spiked under my skin. Accident? A cold laugh. You mean when you locked your arms round my neck? Or when you bit me while you kissed? My face combusted. I swear I thought you were. The temperature plummeted. He freed my wrist, straightened, retied his robe. Every motion surgical. Thought I was who? Tone flat. Danger humming beneath. No one. Nobody. I backpedaled. So I'm interchangeable with a nobody? One sculpted brow lifted. My stomach flipped. That's not. Then what is it? Words knotted in my throat. He lost interest, strode to the bathroom, spine rigid. Since you've labeled it an accident, it never happened. The door clicked shut. I stared after him, chest tight. Relief should have come. Instead a weight settled. When he'd said, never happened, I'd seen his knuckles blanch, veins raised like whipcords. Why so furious? The contract gave him every right. After his shower, he emerged in gunmetal gray, gold-rimmed glasses sealing all emotion behind glass, fastening the onyx cufflinks my father had gifted. He always wore them, he said. I fly out today. Back in a week. Wright has the house covered. Understood. I played the docile Caldwell. At the door he paused, hand on the knob. Back still to me. Serena. Next time you drink, call a car. Click. Gone. I stood there wondering if call a car meant don't bother me, or something else entirely. Underscore 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 underscore. I buried myself in work. Award piece follow-ups. Next season sketches. No time to breathe. Aaron kept hovering. That afternoon he parked a paper cup on my desk. Earth to Serena. Coffee break. Pass. I didn't look up. Deadlines. Heard a rumor you got hitched. For money. To some troll tycoon. He smirked. It's garbage. I snapped. So you're still single? His eyes glittered. I told him to get lost. He leaned closer, about to push, when the glass door swung open. Lucian, black trench coat dusted with river fog, hair damp from drizzle, 4 days early, filled the frame. Every head swiveled. Forbes' faces are recognizable. My boss almost curtsied. Caldwell, what an honor. Lucian's gaze bypassed him, landing on Aaron's elbow inches from mine, quietly, for the whole room to hear. He said, I'm picking up my wife. Underscore 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 underscore. Silence detonated. Then whispers ricocheted. Aaron sputtered, he's your husband? Lucian walked over, draped his coat on my chair, bent to my ear. Aren't you going to introduce me? Out loud I managed, Aaron. This is my husband. Lucian. Aaron. Lucian ignored the extended hand, brushed a stray lock from my cheek. My wife only drinks pour over Blue Mountain. The instant stuff upsets her stomach. Aaron turned plum. Lucian scooped up my tote, clasped my hand, warm, calloused, unrelenting, and led me out. Inside the Bentley, I yanked free. We agreed on secrecy. Clause 3 says, when necessary. Since when is a chatty coworker necessary? He interferes with your work, and my name, Lucian answered, loosening his tie. I protect my investments. That's retaliation for the night I bit my tongue. The air froze. He studied me until I squirmed. So that man matters enough to defend? He's a coworker. Nothing more. I burst. Good. He angled closer. Voice velvet over steel. Because I didn't enjoy the way he looked at you. Not one bit. My heart stuttered. For one impossible second I thought, Lucian. Jealous. Impossible. We're just ink on paper, aren't we? He did it because of that damned, overpowering need to control and possess. Right. That has to be it. That's his business. Nothing to do with me. I forced myself to stay calm. Caldwell. Our agreement only says we can't interfere in each other's private lives. Nowhere does it say we can't have admirers. I purposely used Caldwell to remind him of the distance between us. Predictably, his face darkened. He slowly straightened, putting space between us again, and the air pressure inside the car returned to normal. Fine. Very fine. He tugged one corner of his mouth into an icy arc. Serena, you'd better remember every word you just said. The driver smoothly pulled up to the villa we'd lived in since the wedding. Not a word was spoken the whole way. After we got out, Lucian headed straight for the master suite while I went to my own guest room. That was our normal married life. Same roof. Two strangers sharing rent. After my shower, I saw several missed calls on my phone. All from Mom. I called back. She picked up instantly. Cece, finally. You scared me to death. Anxiety crackled in her voice. What's wrong? Did you and Yubai fight? My heart lurched. No. Why? Don't deny it. Your mother-in-law, Ayubai's mom, just phoned, sounding me out about whether we're unhappy with the marriage. She also said Yubai dropped a multi-million-dollar overseas contract and flew straight back because of you. Mom's words slammed into me like a sledgehammer. Lucian had thrown away hundreds of millions just to come back for me. Impossible. He'd claimed it was the scheduled end of his trip. Mom, you must have misheard. He simply finished his regular business trip. I tried to explain, but my voice sounded weak even to me. No mistake. Your mother-in-law told me herself. She said he was in a crucial cross-border video conference when his assistant showed him something on his phone. His face changed instantly. He cut the meeting short and booked the earliest flight home. The board of directors was livid. She paused, even more worried. Cece, tell Mom the truth. Have you stirred up some romantic trouble? My mind buzzed. Chaos swirling. Assistant showed him a phone. I suddenly remembered. The afternoon Landon leaned against my desk chatting. A coworker had snapped photos and posted them on Instagram. Could it be? I didn't dare finish the thought. After hanging up, I sat on the bed in a daze. Mom's words echoing in my skull. Lucian, the man who always puts profit and logic first, would lose his mind over a trivial thing like that. I refused to believe it. There had to be another reason. Sure, just that suffocating possessiveness. Annoyed that someone else was eyeing his toy. Nothing to do with love. I kept hypnotizing myself. Yet my heart wouldn't slow down. That night I couldn't sleep. Next morning I trudged into the studio with panda eyes. The moment I stepped through the door, I became the center of attention. My colleagues looked at me with curiosity, envy, even awe. Landon wasn't in. Word was he'd called in sick. I was jittery all day, watching sketch after sketch. Near quitting time I got a WhatsApp from Lucian. Two terse words, come down. I stalled a bit, then grabbed my bag and went. His car, the same ostentatious black Bentley, sat right outside the main entrance. I yanked the door open and snapped. Caldwell, could you not be so high profile? We agreed on a secret marriage. Now the whole company knows, still a secret? He shot back. That silenced me for a second. You caused it. He didn't argue, just told the driver, drive. Instead of heading home, we stopped at an upscale private restaurant. Why here? I asked warily. Dinner. He unbuckled. Mom wants us back tonight. My heart sank. The mom he meant was Caldwell, my mother-in-law. So last night's call hadn't been idle gossip. Caldwell intended to interrogate me herself. Can I skip it? I resisted. What do you think? Lucian glanced at me. I surrendered and followed him out. The Caldwell family dinner was more oppressive than I'd imagined. Around the long table sat Lucian's parents and his sister Evelyn, who'd flown back from abroad. Caldwell was a well-preserved beauty, regal and elegant, but her eyes held scrutiny and displeasure. Caldwell Sr. kept a stern face, powerful and silent. Only Evelyn winked at me, friendly. She resembled Lucian, but was radiant and outgoing, a tiny airplane charm dancing on the silver bracelet at her wrist. Yubai, Cece, you're here. Sit, Caldwell said, breaking the silence. Lucian and I took our reserved seats. The meal tasted like sawdust. Caldwell questioned me about work, each remark a veiled warning. Now that I'd married into the Caldwells, I must behave and not tarnish their name with gossip. I kept my head down, answering only yes, or, Lucian stayed quiet, merely piling food into my bowl until it resembled a small mountain. Mom, he finally said, tone flat, Serena's studio just won an international award, bright future. She has her own career, and I'm proud of her. Caldwell's face stiffened. Besides, Lucian set down his chopsticks and dabbed his mouth. Every gesture elegant. His words heavy. She's my wife. I trust her. In one sentence he declared both ownership and faith, leaving Caldwell no opening. The atmosphere turned electric. Evelyn burst out laughing, easing the tension. Mom, look, you've scared your daughter-in-law. The lovebirds are fine. Quit fussing. Right, sis? She gave me a playful nudge. I managed a stiff smile. After dinner, Lucian was summoned to Caldwell's study. Caldwell kept me in the living room for more Caldwell's golden rules, making me squirm. Evelyn rescued me. Mom, I like her. Let us girls chat. You wouldn't begrudge me that, would you? She hauled me upstairs to her room. The instant the door shut, she turned into a gossip hound. Spill? How far have you two gone? What do you mean? How far? I played dumb. Cut it out. She poked my arm. My brother's poker face may fool Mom, but not me. He ditched $1 billion deal for you. If that's not love, I'm an idiot. My heart gave a violent thud. He really came back because of me? Who else? She rolled her eyes. I was at his office that day. His assistant showed him a photo. Yours with that guy in the cafe. His face went black. Next thing he's rushing to the airport. I couldn't stop him. It's just possessiveness, I insisted. Possessiveness? Evelyn chuckled meaningfully. Tell me, have you ever seen a rock jealous of another rock? I was stunned. My brother's been bottled up since childhood. Like jade locked in ice, cold outside, warm inside. If he didn't love you, 10 guys could circle you and he wouldn't blink. Her words were a key twisting in a rusted lock. Details I deliberately ignored flooded back. How mad he'd been when I mistook him for someone else. His childish show of sovereignty at my office. The fact he remembered I hate instant coffee. The way he defended me in front of his family. If you replaced contract with a love, everything fit. But why? We're a paper marriage. When did it start? I rasped. When? She thought, then snapped her fingers. 3 years ago, at a charity gala. You wore a lake blue gown, sat quietly in a corner sketching. He stood nearby and watched you the entire night. 3 years. Charity gala. I strained my memory. Yes. I'd been invited as a young designer and hid in a corner drawing because I hated schmoozing. So even then, my heart was in complete turmoil. So, Evelyn patted my shoulder. Don't let that iceberg face fool you. Inside he's pure shy marshmallow. He mouths mutual respect, but dreams of being glued to you. Poke the window paper and you're done. I left the Caldwell dazed. In the car, Lucian and I were silent again, but everything felt different. I sneaked glances at him. He had his eyes closed, lashes casting tiny shadows. Profile flawless. Turns out under that icy mask beat a ferociously hot heart. As we neared the villa, he suddenly opened his eyes. What are you looking at? He asked. Voice husky with sleep. And nothing. I jerked my gaze away. Guilty. He gave a soft laugh and said no more. Back home, I automatically turned toward my guest room when he caught my wrist. Tonight, you sleep in the master. His eyes were deep. Tone absolute. Tonight, you sleep in the master. Quiet words, but they struck my heart like a gong. I froze. Pulse stuttering. Why? I blurted. He didn't answer. Simply laced our fingers, firm, inescapable, and led me step by step into the bedroom I had never entered. It was him to the core, stark, cold, monochrome, nothing superfluous. The air carried his cedar scent, wrapping around me. Lucian, we have an agreement, I reminded him, throat dry. Evelyn's revelation had stirred me, but reason screamed to keep my distance. Agreements can be amended. He let go, pulled the prenup from the nightstand drawer, and uncapped a pen, spreading the contract. He pointed to a clause, separate bedrooms. We can delete that. His burning gaze awaited my verdict. Give me a reason, I repeated, mustering courage to look straight at him. I wanted the truth, not hearsay. He hesitated. Adam's apple sliding. No reason. He looked away, voice cooling again. Consider it part of playing the happy couple. You heard Mom tonight. Once more he hid behind his mother. Frustration and disappointment flared. Really? I laughed sharply. I thought perhaps Caldwell had developed an untoward interest in his easily mistaken wife. I referenced that night on purpose. Wanting to jab, to force the real answer. His face darkened instantly. Serena, he said. Full name warning. I'm testing your patience? I stepped closer, backing him against the bed and desk. Lucian, what am I to you? A contractual partner, a parental shield, or property you can summon and dismiss? My control snapped. Days of suppression, confusion, and the hope Evelyn had ignited now doused, spilled out. You parade into my office to mark territory, defend me in front of my family, and now demand I share your bed. Why? If it's just your damned possessiveness. Hear this, I'm no one's accessory. This marriage is a transaction. Over in 3 years. Who gives you the right? I never finished. He clasped the back of my head and crashed his mouth onto mine. Nothing like the featherlight kiss when I was drunk. This was invasion. Punishment. Years of restraint detonating. His tongue drove between my lips. Plundering. Stealing my breath. Cedar and raw male heat flooded my senses. I shoved at his chest. He captured my wrists, pinning them behind me, while his other hand welded my waist to his body. Only when I saw stars did he ease a fraction. Foreheads touching. We panted. The air electric. His eyes were rimmed red. Storm cloud emotions churning in those gorgeous, almond-shaped irises, feeling so intense they looked almost painful. On what grounds? He echoed. Voice raw. On the grounds that I love you. Boom. My universe imploded, then rebuilt itself from the rubble in a heartbeat. What did he just say? He loves me. That sentence, falling from the lips of a man famous for his ice-cold self-discipline and stingy syllables, packed more punch than any sky-high vow. I stared, forgetting to breathe, to blink. Say that again, I stammered, half convinced I'd hallucinated. I love you. Each word rang crystal clear. From the second I saw you at that charity dinner 3 years ago, Evelyn had told the truth. He really, then why? I choked. Why sign that thing? Because I was a coward. A bitter smile twisted his mouth. Serena, you blaze like the sun. I grew up inside the Caldwell freezer. I was sure I'd freeze you, smother you, so I picked the clumsiest, most ridiculous way to keep you close. I told myself seeing you every day would be enough. I was wrong. He cupped my face, brushing tears away with his thumbs. When you got drunk and clung to me, I went insane, jealous of any man who'd ever made you that free. When I caught someone else looking at you the same way, I wanted to gouge his eyes out. I was jealous, furious, unhinged. I finally admitted I can't play housemates any longer. His voice dropped to a ragged plea. Serena, I'm done pretending. I'm sick of pressing my ear to your bedroom wall. Sick of waiting downstairs like a stalker while you laugh with someone else. You don't have to love me back. Just don't shove me away, okay? Here he was, Riverdale's untouchable titan, stripped of armor, bearing the softest, most human part of himself. My heart shattered. All this time he'd carried this huge love alone. All this time the marriage I thought was ice cold had been quietly burning on both ends. I lost it. I flung my arms around his waist. You idiot. I sobbed into his shirt, soaking the fabric. Absolute, first-class fool. He froze for half a second, then crushed me back against him. I felt his heart thundering against my ear, fast and scalding, twin to mine. We talked all night. How he'd first spotted me 3 years ago. Every heartbeat of these past 3 months. Turned out he'd quietly bailed out my father's company. Then, at Dad's lowest point, floated the business marriage idea through the Caldwell mouthpiece. Every move calculated to drag me into his orbit. So you schemed from day one? I poked his chest, nestled against him. Guilty. He kissed my fingers. Sun Tzu, never fight a battle unprepared. With you. Every step was reconnaissance. Mergers and acquisitions had deployed the 36 stratagems to court a girl. Yet you still made me sign that trash contract? My safety net? And my test. He exhaled, tightening his arms. I wanted to know if you'd inch toward me without feelings on paper. Pretty stupid. Huh, a beat of self-pity. If you hadn't gotten tipsy I might have waited forever. I giggled. Who knew the fearsome Lucian was a shy schoolboy inside? So what are we now? I tipped my face up. He brushed noses with me, eyes molten. What do you think? Caldwell? A searing kiss followed. No more punishment, only tenderness, as though I were treasure reclaimed. That night I slept in the master bedroom for the first time. He locked me against him from behind, chin on my head, his steady breath warming my scalp. Sleep eluded me. It all felt like a dream. Turned out my one-way crush had been two-way all along. Turned out the icy transaction had been love incognito. Morning light. He was gone. A sticky note sprawled on the nightstand. Board meeting. Breakfast downstairs. Eat. Love. Lucian. He'd gouged the pen into those last 3 words. Grinning like an idiot, I floated to the studio. The bubble burst the moment I walked in. Pitying, scornful glances sliced at me. Serena, Twitter. Now. My assistant threw her phone at me. The top trend. Hashtag rising designer Serena homewrecker. Click. An expose by Lucian's ex. Photos. Timeline. 7 years of campus to boardroom love wrecked by me. The gold-digging mistress. Receipts. Promise necklace he'd supposedly gifted. Cropped chat logs that looked damning. Worst, our prenup. Every clause, no interference in private lives, and marriage dissolves after 3 years, neon highlighted. Final sob. I'm just a prop. They'll reunite soon. The comments were venom, rich girl drama, so it's side chick wins? New billionaires don't do love. She wants cash. He wants fresh arm candy. 3 and out clause. Peak F-boy behavior. Poor original girlfriend, 7 years beaten by 3 months. Boycott Serena's trash designs. My vision tunneled. Hands ice. Only 2 copies existed. His safe. My drawer. He'd never. Which left? Evelyn. She'd toured my room at the Caldwell. Cooing fake warmth. But why? Phones exploded. Brands pulling collabs. Reporters demanding statements. My boss benched me until the storm passes. I scurried back to the mansion like a rat. Wright tried to speak. I ignored her. Drawer open. Paper gone. I sagged on the carpet. Battery dead in every limb. Lucian's calls kept lighting the screen. Let it ring. Then the front door slammed. He stalked in. Coat swirling. Hair wild. Finding me on the floor. He scooped me up. Wrapped me in blankets. Ice cold. Are you hurt? I met his eyes. Silent. PR team's on it. I'll fix it, he vowed, chafing my hands. Did you leak it? The question scraped raw. Hurt flashed across his face. You think I? Only 2 people had access. Tears spilled. Am I just revenge bait for your ex? Bullshit. There is no ex. Julia chased me in college. I never bit the necklace. Caldwell bought it for a client's daughter years ago. It sat in storage till Julia filched it. Chest heaving. Subpoenas flying. Plus security footage. Evelyn creeping into my room. Lamp low. Door clicking open after midnight. He paused. Gave a weary smile. Still up. Waiting for you. I crossed the room and eased the winter chill coat from his shoulders. Cigarette odor clung to him. Thick enough to bite. He never smoked. All sorted? I asked. He pulled me into the curve of his body, chin hooking over my shoulder like a weary wolf, voice low and razored. Evelyn and Julia are on a plane. They won't ever come back. For a second the quiet felt lethal. What about your parents? I laid everything out. His eyes stayed shut as he inhaled the warmth from my neck. Starting tonight, I'm officially out of the Caldwell. I'll keep only the Caldwell shares that actually belong to me. My pulse stuttered. Lucian, you don't have to burn everything down for. Not for you, he cut in gently. For us. Serena. That ice cage had me locked up 30 years. I want the next decades to be ours. He stepped back, still holding my hand, and lowered himself to one knee. The gesture yanked the air from my lungs. A velvet box appeared between his fingers. When the lid flipped, moonlight slid across a solitaire that was delicate, bespoke. Nothing like the River Rock diamonds Riverdale matrons flaunted. I bought this stone 3 years ago, flew to the Kimberly pit myself, he said, eyes blazing constellations. The band is sketched from your favorite painting, Starry. One master polisher spent 90 days finishing it. I told myself if the contract ever ended and you felt even one spark, I'd ask. But I'm done waiting. He slipped the ring free and reached for my left hand. Serena, I trapped you in a bad deal once. Let me trade it for every tomorrow I have. Not a corporate alliance, just your husband. Say you'll marry me for real. Tears dripped off my jaw before I could answer. All I could do was nod so hard my vision blurred. His grin cracked. Eyes glassy. The band glided home. Perfect fit. He rose, kissed the salt from my cheeks. No more tears. Caldwell. Ever. The tabloids never got their feeding frenzy. Lucian shielded me like a state secret, dismantling Caldwell infighting in background rooms while I sketched jewelry upstairs. He quit the tower, launched his own firm, started from zero, came home at 2 a.m. grinning because he'd clawed back one more investor. When I tried to help he just ruffled my hair. You keep sketching Starlight. Let me handle the rent. He bankrolled my studio with Serena, so I could create without chasing buyers. We moved into a Riverview loft painted in buttercream and morning sun instead of the old black and white mausoleum decor. He memorized my cycle and left brown sugar ginger tea on the nightstand. Sat through my all-nighters feeding me dumplings at 3 a.m. Learned to cook apron splattered. Cursing at a souffle because takeout bored him. The iceberg everyone feared melted into a man who begged for goodnight kisses and sulked when I Instagram liked another designer's post. Our second wedding landed on our first anniversary, just family and ride or die friends, in a salt-whipped chapel up the coast. The gown he had sewn for me spilled tiny diamonds like the midnight sky in Starry. Dad walked me down the aisle. Lucian waited in white linen, no tie, eyes drinking me in. The vows were simple. When the priest asked, I answered before he finished the sentence, and Lucian's hands trembled sliding the band on. Applause ricocheted off stained glass while we kissed. The sunset dinner on the beach turned into a liquor-soaked roast. Lucian drank every shot, but kept an arm locked around my waist so no one could spin me onto the dance sand. I ducked out early. Minutes later, he stumbled in. Eyes star-bright. Serena. I'm so damn happy the first 30 years feel like rehearsal. I framed his face. Flattery will get you everywhere. Not flattery, fact. He kissed my eyelids, lips coasting lower. Caldwell, shouldn't we consummate this marriage again? Waves applauded against the stilts of our villa while he carried me to bed. Every kiss tasted of sea salt and champagne. When I teased that the great Lucian was actually shy, he growled and showed me exactly how wrong I was until dawn. I woke sore, sun high. He lounged beside me, fingertip tracing the ring. I ran you a bath. Cinderella, you're a beast. You're beast. He nipped my shoulder. Every morning, if you'll let me. We played honeymooners for 2 weeks, collecting shells, racing dinghies, making love under ceiling fans. Back home he built an empire while I built collections. My pieces hit Fashion Week. Lucian never missed a show, sitting front row glowing like he'd cut the stones himself. At one press junket a reporter sneered. Caldwell, critics say your rise is just hubby's money talking. Before I could breathe, Lucian stood. Wrong. She doesn't need my spotlight. She is the light. I just keep the wind from blowing her out. Silence. Then thunderous claps. I cried behind sunglasses. 2 years later Wright delivered the stick with 2 pink lines. I tucked the sonogram printout into a velvet envelope and waited until Lucian burst through the door at dawn. Passport still in hand. You threw up. Are you okay? Hospital. Now. I dangled the photo. Congratulations, Daddy. He froze, eyes comically wide, then knelt, pressing lips to my still flat belly. Hey, kid, behave. Mom's the star of this show. 10 months later our son arrived, Lucian's mini-me, down to the epic eye roll. The cutthroat mogul learned diaper origami and became that dad who shoves phone pics at venture capitalists. One Sunday, I rocked on the patio reading while Lucian toddled our boy across the grass. The kid face planted, giggled, and planted a muddy kiss on Lucian's cheek. My heart liquefied. He wandered over, air balanced on his hip. Penny for your thoughts. That I must have saved the universe in another life to deserve you. Wrong again. He kissed me soft. I'm the one who waited lifetimes to deserve you. I curled my arms around both my boys, ring catching the light, and knew the transaction that began with a cold prenup had compounded into the rarest love Riverdale would ever see.